Tonight, we're looking at an incredibly complex moment in American life, a time filled with political surprises, economic head-scratchers, and big shifts on the global stage. It's like the country is running on 3 different speeds at once, and tracking all of them requires attention. The biggest story isn't a foreign conflict or an economic downturn. It's a sudden, dramatic shakeup right in the heart of Washington. All triggered by a long-simmering mystery that just won't be solved. We start in Congress, where President Donald Trump is facing the kind of political pushback that is genuinely rare. The issue with the ongoing intense battle to release classified files and internal government documents pertaining to the notorious late financier Jeffrey Epstein. For months, the White House fought hard against the release, arguing it was just noise from old, politically motivated investigations. But this week, something broke, and the political establishment was visibly rattled. The president made a surprising, abrupt U-turn after intense pressure came from a very strange and powerful coalition. Democrats teaming up with a group of influential, rebellious Republicans. This internal rift reached a boiling point in the House of Representatives, where a key vote to force the Department of Justice to release the full cache of Epstein documents became unavoidable. The political maneuvering was visible for all to see. The president's initial resistance and subsequent backing down are seen as a real sign of vulnerability, especially since prominent figures like Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene publicly broke ranks on the issue of transparency and accountability. Although the president has since tried to dismiss the controversy as political noise, the reality is that the public and even his own party are demanding complete clarity on a case that raises deeply uncomfortable questions about the connections between the elite and serious crimes. The fact that the president conceded only when it was mathematically certain he was facing a humiliating loss in the House is a visible ding to his political armor and a clear signal that the party's priorities are shifting under pressure. The shadow of the Epstein controversy has spread wide and deep. Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, a figure synonymous with Democratic economic policy, has been forced to step back from several public roles amid rising scrutiny over his past emails linked to Epstein. This development underscores just how committed the public and media are to full accountability, making past association a genuine political liability, regardless of party. This domestic political intrigue is layered on top of the recent, disruptive 6-week government shutdown. That costly standoff, which disrupted paychecks for federal workers and essential economic data, highlighted how difficult it is for Washington to find common ground and how expensive that political friction can be for everyday people. The $16 billion in missed wages is a figure that resonates far beyond the Beltway. Let's shift gears from political drama to the money matters that affect everyone, the kitchen table issues. The latest economic data is complex. It gives us some good news mixed with persistent worry. While inflation has been observably cooling down and is getting closer to the Federal Reserve's 2% target, a deep, persistent sense of unease about affordability is hanging over American households. The best evidence of this is the unexpected, dramatic drop in the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey. This soft data signal suggests that even if economic charts look stable, the average American feels increasingly squeezed, especially by everyday costs that seem disconnected from the cooling inflation numbers. The president himself has had to acknowledge this public sentiment, noting that some consumer costs are a little bit higher. To try and relieve this pressure, the administration has made some policy adjustments that mark a tactical retreat from its core trade philosophy. They've reduced tariffs or taxes on imported goods for certain common staples like coffee, beef, and tropical fruit. This is a subtle but significant acknowledgement that those taxes were indeed raising costs for consumers. They've also floated an idea for a $2,000 dividend for all Americans funded by remaining tariff revenue as a direct way to put cash relief into the hands of middle and lower income families before the upcoming election cycle, a pure political and economic maneuver. Adding to this economic puzzle is a fascinating, yet deeply concerning, trend in the tech world. Massive successful tech companies like Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet are cutting thousands of jobs, even while their profits and investments in artificial intelligence AI soar to new heights. This creates a strange situation, known as the AI paradox, where the technology itself is achieving huge prosperity and driving up stock prices, but the number of jobs created by that technology remains surprisingly small, currently measured at less than 3% of the total non-farm workforce. It raises a big societal question. If AI is driving incredible economic growth, how do we make sure that prosperity is shared with everyone and not just concentrated at the very top of the corporate ladder? All of this takes place while we look at historic wealth trends. Analysis shows that the baby boomer generation accumulated massive wealth, often through accessible home ownership and favorable policies, opportunities that younger generations are struggling desperately to find in today's market. To current ferocious debate over affordability, housing costs, and stagnant wage growth for young workers is quickly becoming a major generational economic flashpoint that defines much of today's struggle. On the international stage, the US is executing some bold and often controversial diplomatic moves that will reshape the regional security landscape. The world is watching the high-profile visit of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman MBS to the White House. This meeting is a big diplomatic win for the Saudi ruler, who faced significant criticism for years. Now, the US-Saudi relationship is moving into a new, closer, and more transactional phase. The core of the discussions centers on huge security and business packages. Most notably, the president's commitment to sell F-35 stealth fighter jets to Saudi Arabia. This is a major complicated issue that has caused immediate and intense internal disagreement within Washington because of concerns over protecting Israel's qualitative military edge (QME) and ensuring sensitive US technology doesn't fall into the wrong hands. For MBS, the urgency of this visit is about securing a deep long-term defense commitment from Washington, validating his standing on the world stage, and ensuring the stability of his regime with American muscle. Meanwhile, attention is still focused intensely on the devastating, ongoing crisis in the Gaza Strip. The United Nations Security Council (UNSC) has approved a US-brokered peace plan, a fragile diplomatic lifeline. This resolution authorizes an international stabilization force to maintain security in the Palestinian territory, following the cessation of major hostilities, (SRA). While getting the UNSC to agree is a clear diplomatic success for Washington, the plan faces massive, immediate challenges. Hamas has rejected it outright, and key regional partners, like the UAE, have expressed serious doubts about the stabilization force's mandate and legal rules. The ultimate success of this hopeful plan depends entirely on securing long-term security in a notoriously unstable area, a task that remains incredibly difficult and fraught with the risk of immediate collapse. In a final, significant foreign policy move, the administration has cranked up the pressure campaign on the regime of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The US has officially labeled the supposed Venezuelan drug cartel, which is allegedly led by Maduro himself, as a foreign terrorist organization. FTO, this move is a strategic escalation designed to force the Venezuelan leader to step down, backed up by the increased deployment of US naval assets to the Caribbean. This is not just rhetoric. This is a clear hardening of the administration's war on drugs policy in Latin America, a move that critics are watching closely, worried that a major military presence in the region could evoke difficult memories of past US interventions in Latin America. When you look at all of these converging issues together, you see a country dealing with simultaneous internal pressure and ambitious global activity. The Epstein documents are testing presidential authority. Economic worries are forcing immediate policy shifts. And internationally, the president is making massive, potentially world-changing diplomatic and security gambles that will define his legacy. The coming weeks will be crucial. They will show whether the political dissent in Washington spirals further, and whether that giant F-35 deal with Saudi Arabia is finalized, permanently altering the strategic military landscape in the Middle East. It's an American drama at a crossroads, where political struggles at home have immediate and profound effects all over the globe. We'll continue to track all these complex stories closely, dissecting the fallout as it happens. Thank you for joining us. If you want to dive deeper into any of these critical issues, please like this video to help others find the news. Subscribe for continuous coverage. And let us know in the comments which of these crises, the political split, the economic squeeze, or the global deals, worries you the most right now.